What's going on, everybody? We're back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Tuesday, October 24th, and I am stoked to be here despite what we watched last night on Monday Night Raw. I've got a wicked crew with me this week on Tuesday afternoon here in sunny Southern California. So I'm over here floating. First and foremost, I've got Chaos. Team RC used to be Wednesdays, now it's Tuesdays. Had to take it to the table. How are you on this fine Tuesday, my friend?
What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? Happy Tuesday, everybody. You know what that means. It is Monday Night Raw review, and yeah, I am good. I'm happy for you that it's sunny in California. Down here, it has been raining, like torrential rain, nonstop all day. So yeah, I am cold. I am tired, and but yeah, and most of all, yeah, I'm looking forward to talk about this episode of Raw. I'm not gonna give my thoughts of it at the beginning like other hosts on here, but yeah, let's just get straight to it, shall we?
I hear you there for sure. We'll try to heat things up on this show for you,
Yes,
Chaos, for
sir.
sure, because of the chilly weather over there in the UK. But up next, out of the DMV, he's going to be doing a two-spot with me tonight. The Tuesday Night Delight himself, Shad. How are you? Fresh out of the car, fresh out of traffic. Talk about a team
Yeah,
player.
shout outs to 495 traffic. If you from Northern Virginia, y'all know the vibes with that highway is crazy. But I'm here, man. Double Tuesday, feeling like Carl Malone, like I always say.
Oh,
I'm good though, man.
absolutely.
I'm good though, man. It's a beautiful fall afternoon in the DMV. You know, a little chilly. Got a hoodie season now, but we good over here, man. Ready to talk wrestling. Let's go.
Absolutely. It's in I'm SoCal guy, so it's In and Out Burger Tuesday for me, double wise, right? Like it's double Tuesday for both of us. But let's get straight into last night's Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about the opening segment. We had the Judgment Day promo, the Cody Rhodes beatdown, and then we had Priest versus Jey Uso. I'm gonna toss it straight to you, Chaos. What did you think about this opening segment in its entirety, including the match?
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, it was a standard obviously it follows the same format as how the bloodline is. Obviously the main faction has to open up the show, and yeah, obviously Damian Priest and Finn Balor came out, obviously, just full of glee, and about becoming two-time undisputed tag team champions, and as rightfully as they should do. And this time they were the ones that got interrupted by Cody Rhodes, and it was just obviously asking him how does it feel getting interrupted. So fair enough, touche. Decent promo battle, nothing really to write home about and whatnot. But at the end, there was obviously a little kerfuffle. He was obviously getting undressed. Cody was getting undressed, and you want to go right now. They did that. They did their thing. JD Buttdunner is still trying to obviously prove himself. I'm kind of wondering when they're going to pay off that. If anything, it wouldn't surprise me if they, at some point, they might just do a different version of Judgment Day at the end. Like, obviously, they're going to probably kick out Priest. JD Madonna takes over Judgment Day and makes his own version of it at some point. That's why I'm kind of alluding to, because he's trying so hard to get in and it's just not happening. But yeah, it was a fine opener. It is what it is. Standard Raw stuff. The match between Priest and Jey Uso, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really say much about it yet. So hopefully Shad can probably fill in for me in that case. But yeah, from the opening segment and the way they started off the night, it was pretty bog standard, as they say in the UK. Yeah, it was nothing to get me excited, but yeah, I'm interested to see what Priest can do against Jey Uso, and obviously they've confirmed that it's now Cody versus Priest at Crown Jewel. That should be very fun. Priest definitely deserves his position in the company and on the card as well, playing with the big boys. So yeah, no, that's all I can say really on just the segment part of it. At
I
some
hear
point, I'll
you.
get back to you in the match.
I'm gonna say this on the segment part of it. We talked about it pre-show. And I put you in a tough spot there because somebody said it out loud and I fully agreed. And so I'm going to say it out loud on air. The Judgment Day is boring. It's
Cap.
facts.
That's
They're
Cap.
I'm bored with Judgment Day. And I'm going to toss it directly to the man that said that off air.
Oh my God, bro.
Man, throw him into the fire, you know.
My man is a
Talk
snitch.
to us, Shad. Let me
Snitching
know.
on me.
No, don't you
Boy,
say that. It wasn't like that.
That's crazy.
May have said it.
Look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. The Judgment Day itself is not boring, but this entire program is just stuck in neutral, and there's nothing that's progressing week by week that is garnering my attention to the entire storyline. In regards to the opening segment, it's like any other opening segment that we see between these two parties, and it's difficult because, like, if you list off the names, I love every wrestler that's part of this. I love Jey Uso, love Cody Rhodes, love Damian Priest, love Finn Balor, love JD McDonough as well. Like, they're all incredible professional wrestlers at what they do in the ring as well as characters outside the ring. The storyline is just really boring. There isn't like much of a storyline. There hasn't been any, build to it to make me drawn into it, the storyline. I mean, promo work, whatever. Cody is upset. He wants his revenge on them. He's ready to go. The positive is this. I will say, I am very intrigued in that match that we're happening at Crown Jewel. And it's mostly based off of just because I think it's going to be an incredible match. Damian Priest is a phenomenal professional wrestler. Cody Rhodes is one of the best as well. And I think they're going to have a great match. But, I mean, it's just a very rinse and repeat cycle with what's going on. And it even goes to the ending, right? I know you didn't watch the match, Chaos, but solid match. Jay and Damian Priest, they're going to give you a good match. Like, that's inevitable to happen. But you can already guess what happened at the end. There's going to be some numbers game that's going to allow the Judgment Day to win. So Damian Priest gets the dub, and Cody's going to come out, and he's going to fight off Damian Priest. Like, a lot of it is kind of, in a sense, like, when you see stuff like this, it isn't bad where you know what you're going to expect. But it's just kind of like I didn't even really need to watch the show, and I knew what was going to happen from just them announcing that they're going to start the show. So it was okay. I won't call them boring. I think
Basically it was same old ish. That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually Kobe that called it boring.
But this is the thing, though. Like, they're not like it's like you can do a lot more to it. Like, I just don't understand. We're in a holding pattern, man. Like, there's so much. Obviously, the big pay-per-view that's coming up is Survivor Series. I'm gonna just take this assumption that we're gonna have some multi-man match that's gonna have all these parties tied together. But it's kind of just like, all right, we're just gonna keep them in little segments so we know that there's gonna come. There's not anything that's making you more excited for it. It's kind of just they're gonna have the same type of feud every Monday night. And we're going to keep it at that. And, I mean, I have no problem with them keeping the Judgment Day strong, showing the Judgment Day, keeping them visible. But let them do some more. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, to your point, like, what's going on with JD? Let bro be part of the team at this point. He does more for them than Dominic does for him. Like, he a real ride or die. So, it's weird, man. They're in a weird place. But they're not boring, Clark.
See, I hear you. I mean, boring is a bit extreme, but I still kind of think they're a little bit boring at this point. And I think about what could have been. When we have segments like this, I'm wearing my LA Knight shirt right now. You wrap Money in the Bank Chaos. Yeah. What could have been? At that moment, Priest was a surprise, but he's carried this briefcase, and other than it turning purple, what has he done with it?
You know what's crazy? So the complaint is always that, they let them cash in way too quick. If now it's like the opposite. He's holding the briefcase.
But every time someone's held it successfully for a long term, and then I'm sorry, Cass, I'll let you go. But every time I feel like someone successfully held it for a long time, they've built upon being the briefcase holder. Priest is only built upon being a member of the Judgment Day
and being a tag team wrestler.
The briefcase turned purple, yes, and then he's a tag team wrestler. and the briefcase is a non-factor in any of the storytelling. And I'm not saying boring. Boring is extreme. It is. That's me being sarcastic 100%. But more with the briefcase and more with Priest for sure, and then Chaos. I'm sorry, I got
I agree. Like the briefcase does feel secondary, but I think that is by design. Like I think they're doing it on purpose to solely. I think he's not going to cash in until he's actually out of Judgment Day. Because I'm starting to really in my head, I'm really thinking like once JD McDonough gets accepted into the Judgment Day, Priest is probably gonna be the first one to come to leave or get booted out, like similar to what they did with Edge. Because I feel like that's what they're gonna do, something very similar to how they booted out Edge to Damian Priest, and then he's got to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase on one of the big 4 pay-per-views. I mean, I wouldn't say no for it to happen at Mania. To be fair, Seth keeps it till Mania, and because we haven't had a cash in since Seth, and how ironic that it will be Seth to be the one that he cashes in when he then obviously did the quote unquote biggest heist of the century. So I'm not too fussed about that. I feel like when it does come into play, it will be memorable. And I think that would be a big moment that we've had in a long time, I'd say. So I'd say give it time. Forget about the Money in the Bank briefcase right now. But I agree, like they're really squeezing the hell out of this Judgment Day thing, and it's just grinding. And I think it's because of Crown Jewel, it's making them kind of spin the wheels a bit until Survivor Series, because I think that's when it will pick up again. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from there. I just think about, I mean, LA Knight wins that briefcase, and as hot as Rollins made this new title out of the gates, you have LA Knight cashing on Rollins, and the crowd just goes absolutely ballistic. That's a moment that I think would have been.
That's why I'm kind of annoyed that they actually are doing Reigns against LA Knight, because we all know what the writing's on the wall already.
It feels like a consolation trophy almost for the work that he's put in to get as over as he is.
Win. It's because he's.
That's what I mean, though. But just like to get it to be in that match is the consolation.
It's a risk as well, because when he does lose, there is a risk that he might lose momentum. That's the thing. It is a risk. Not everyone can survive that. So I'm really annoyed that they wasting it on such an obvious pay-per-view, which what the obvious result is going to be. So, but yeah, it is what it is.
I completely agree with you on that, and I think it's not fair tonight in that scenario. No. But anyway, Shad, you had something to add there about Priest?
No, it was more so about LA Knight. I agree with y'all's point. I feel like that could have been held to a different pay-per-view. I mean, Crown Jewel, as good as shows they've had, it's really just a super house show.
Yeah,
that has some
and a propaganda show,
and a propaganda show as well. But like, we ain't gonna talk about all that.
Well, we're up.
Yeah.
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Yeah, happy Tuesday. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's funny.
No doubt. We got a bunch of comments here. We've got
a bunch, yeah.
There's a lot. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, we got Matt Williams has. Gosh, Matt, I really want to show a lot of your comments, but you gotta just
some of them we can hold to other segments. To be honest with you,
yeah, for sure.
Kind of skipping ahead.
Yeah, we'll hold them till other segments. For now, let's actually just get into the next one. Let's talk about the New Day versus the Alpha Academy. 2 fun tag teams, 2 charismatic mic workers, at least, if not 3, I guess, if you include Woods too, right? In this one, but maybe 4. I don't know. Otis doesn't talk a bunch on the mic. He's just charismatic in general. But either way, fun matchup. I complain often about the tag division on Raw. What did you think of this one? Do you think that either one is building towards a chance against the tag team champs, whoever that may be?
I hope so. I mean, the match itself was fun. I mean, I feel it was kind of out of nowhere because it's 2 babyface teams going against each other. But you're gonna get a fun match with the New Day, and especially Alpha Academy. They've proven themselves over numerous times. With obviously the Viking match or Viking rules match with the Viking Raiders, which by the way, awesome little promo that they did for Ivar. It looks like they're really trying to push him as a single star, because I know that he got high praise for his match last week against Kofi Kingston. But anyway, going back to the match itself, Yeah, it was fun. Nice little sequences in there. I feel like, well, the fact that they gave New Day the W, surely they must be attempting to go and get their, is it the 16th title? I think 15th or 16th. But at the
It's
same
up
time, do
there.
they really need it? I'm just like, why we're building up what you wanted to be the Ric Flair of tag teams? It's weird. But yeah, I felt like I was kind of disappointed that the New Day won. It was more Alpha Academy is the one that's got the most momentum right now with Chad Gable and obviously what's her name?
Maxine Dupree.
Maxine. Yeah,
Maxine
I knew it. Yeah, it was on the tip of my tongue.
And Akira Tozawa now.
And hey, he's a badass. I love this little thing that he's doing. The little interaction he had with Bronson Reed later in the night as well. I'm liking the thing, and it's just like his little workouts. Oh, yeah, man. I'm liking the little thing that they're doing with him. But yeah, it was fine for what it was. Clearly, I think they better make the most of it. Have him have a quick title match. I don't know when they're gonna have it, the tag team titles match. But yeah, it was fine for what it was. A standard TV match, but it was fun. That's what I can say on that.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I do think if Big E is coming back, which looks unlikely, but if he was, a build for them to catch the Usos, right? Because I believe they're actually behind the Usos by 1 or 2 reigns now. Correct? Well, if you include Jay's, I might be 2.5. I don't know how do we quantify that mathematically?
I don't think that counts, but
well, I mean, I don't know though, right? Like
it's not a Uso title, it's Jay and Cody.
Yeah, but I mean, Jay's got one more than Jimmy now.
Yeah, he definitely got, yeah.
Jay himself does, yeah.
We're just talking, but then he's also.
If you're talking the actual tag teams of Jimmy and Jay versus, well, I guess that is weird because they've had different variations of the New Day. So I think Cody just needs to join
the New Day.
The Usos? Cody Uso.
Cody's the new honorary Uso.
I guess.
I thought Sami Zayn was the honorary Uso. And does that count as a title reign? Because he did defend the title in that. Oh, you're muted, Chaos.
You're muted, big dog.
My bad. I got too excited. I'll be like, that would tip Sami Zayn over the edge. It was like, you took that away from me as well. I have nothing left.
Oh, that would be the best. And then the Sami Cody rivalry. I'm actually in for that.
Let's book it.
That'd be hilarious. I'm totally in for that. No, book that. 100%. But with that, let's talk about Becky Lynch versus Indy Hartwell. We had Lyra Valkyria. Sorry, Lyra.
Come on, you come on, man.
Dude,
do better, brother.
It's so many Y's and I's. It gets me every time, and I don't usually get tongue-tied. See,
we're talking about that tonight, by the way.
Look at. Did you just, Shad? The name rattles me. It's an accident. It's not. It's
you good. Lyra Valkyria.
Or isn't it? I thought it was Lyra Valkyria.
No, that sounds like a disease, not Lyria. Lyra.
It's like leprosy, bro.
I have leprosy.
You need to get that checked. You got the Lyria.
Jeez, that's a pretty stiff disease. But anyway, she was in the front row for this match. Becky obviously is always Becky. I thought Indy Hartwell looked outstanding in this match, and it's been a long time since I've seen Indy bell to bell wrestle a long match on TV. Giving her the time I thought was awesome, and this is one of those rare instances throughout the show where I thought, even though it wasn't really necessarily about Indy Hartwell, somebody was put over without having to go over. If that makes sense. It really worked in my eyes. I wish Valkyria would have jumped the rail, personally, at some point. And even for a stare down, right? A jump the rail stare down would have been delightful. Generally speaking, though, I really, really, really loved this. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it gets paid off. Shad, I know we talk about this often on Tuesday nights too. So you have a lot of insight on this. Let me know your thoughts on Becky versus Indy.
Y'all know the vibes, man. NXT. We talk about the GOAT. Becky Lynch Women of the Year, PWI. We're not going to acknowledge that. My bad. This is the best women's wrestler this. Who exactly? This is the best women's wrestler of the year, and it's. I say this week after week on Tuesday nights. She is a fighting champion, and she is taking a, I guess, secondary title in this realm of the universe and helping out those talents that are in that universe. Indy Hartwell, we haven't seen her wrestle in a long time. Playing off of the storyline of she never technically lost her title. She won the belt. They stripped it of her because they took her to the main roster and they didn't do anything with her. But they're using her now, and they had a very stellar match. This is one of Indy's better matches. And I'm a person, I'll be honest with you, I'm not overly like on over the moon for Indy Hartwell as a wrestler. I think she's solid. I don't think she's like some sensational talent, but Becky was able to work with her and give her one of her best fights and putting her in a position where they have a lot of the influx of talent on Raw compared to SmackDown is kind of night and day. They're way more star heavy on SmackDown because you got Bianca, Asuka, Io, Bayley, Charlotte. On Raw, you have Becky, Rhea, and then you have a lot of people who are kind of a notch below that. And then you have a lot of young talent on it that got called up from NXT. I think this is a great way they've been doing it to kind of help the people understand who they are, put them in position, and give them good TV time. Shout outs to Monday Night Raw yesterday. Also, they had like every single women's wrestler. We're going to talk about a segment coming up, like on the show too. It's beautiful to see. I thought it was great. And yeah, man, Becky Lynch, she's the best women's champion on the WWE roster. She's better than Io, and she's better than Rhea Ripley, what she's doing with her reign. She's giving back to the youth, and she's also being a fighting champion, man. So, the GOAT.
I love it, and I agree with so much of what you said, but I will say one thing that I do disagree with is when you mentioned Indy Hartwell not being a sublime talent. I actually see a ton in Indy personally, and I think she's got that it factor because she's got so much range character work-wise, plus the athleticism. I'm not saying that she's going to reach this height necessarily, but I love player comparisons. As you know, I'm a huge sports fan. I see her ceiling as the women's Randy Orton. I kid you not. I see that in Indy Hartwell because of the way she works. Everything she does is so clean. Her pacing is always underrated, and she's been working against mostly grain workers where we've seen her. I mean, she was during the peak of NXT 2.0, right? Is her biggest run. She's mostly worked against not Becky Lynch. When you see her against Becky Lynch, her pacing is dead on the money. Like
Yeah, for sure.
for WWE television. And I think sneakily, right? I'm not saying like that's an obvious one. And I know it's a little bit of a out of left field and Randy Orton's a big compliment, but I mean it. Like I really do believe that's her ceiling ish, right? As a talent because
Yeah. I mean,
stylistically she's got it and clearly has range character work wise.
No, I'm not. So I'm not saying that she's not talented. I haven't seen it to a point where I've been wowed by it. But she does have potential. She is super young. I think what they need to do is like, we know that her and Candice LeRae was a tag team at NXT. Like, let's put real tag teams in this tag division. Like, let's stop mix and matching. Like, there's some tags that are actually tag teams and put them in there. You know they work well together too. They've been champions before. They got the chemistry.
I would not mind that
sense.
in the least. That would make a ton of sense. Or Andy kicks Candice's head off and turns.
Eventually, no, we can get them. That's something that obviously WWE booking 1-on-1. The tag team, they're good friends, they sisters, and then they break up. And then you can shock it a little bit because we've seen Candice heel a lot more on NXT. Maybe Indy does because that's what we were expecting with Orton and Riddle before Riddle obviously
I have a feeling
shot himself in the foot.
I have a feeling Indy's gonna make an amazing heel someday. I really do.
They're giving a screen time now. There's potential for it, and I'm glad about that. Like I said, that's what I'm. It before we get to the next topic, I feel like the NXT Women Title reign with Becky floating it around opens up the conversation of maybe having. And I know I don't like too many titles, but like a secondary title for that Raw roster, just because they got so many like tweener, like mid card women's wrestlers. But it might be too much. Who knows? I don't know.
I totally hear you there.
Might be a little much.
It might be a bit much, just because Rhea is the top person, and you don't make the whole locker room be afraid of her. Everyone needs to gain the confidence to try and take her down. So yeah, I don't think a secondary it'll be the same conversation that we're having with the World Heavyweight Championship. If Cody won it, it's just a consolation prize. That's what it is.
That's true. That's true. It's a good point.
So yeah,
100%. That is a great call there. But let's get into this women's contract signing here for the fatal 5-way match. If that's a thing. Can you book that in the video game?
It's not called a fatal 5-way. It's just called a 5-man battle royal.
And can you
This is 5 too many people in a match, in my opinion. But I'm gonna let Chaos get it.
5 too many people in a contract signing. I mean, it's just it is what it is. I don't know. What do you also, by the way, Nia Jax. Can we stop booing Nia Jax so hard? It's like mean. It's like
Brother, they were in San Antonio, Texas. You can't expect anything less about that crowd.
Brutal. I was like, whoa.
They didn't let her get a word.
Poor Nia, she took an RKO from Orton and the crowd cheered. Think about that. That happened on WWE TV.
Yeah, poor Nia, yo. Just because
it's not right. It's not right.
Anyway, and there's nothing poor about her. She's getting paid for this, so
it's true. She is.
She loving it.
It's a full-time job. Anyway, Chaos, I'm going to toss it to you. What are your thoughts on the fatal 5-way, the 5-way?
So yeah, the way the things were building up, I'm kind of happy with myself that I actually called it. This was the only thing that it just made sense. How they were just throwing all these people in, and then I also think they weirdly. I feel that the management feels that Rhea has lost a bit of momentum. Sure, she's obviously on TV all the time, constantly, but in terms of putting fear into the locker room, she's kind of lost that. Ever since she wasn't even on the SummerSlam card and not really defending the title as much, even though the matches that she's had defending the title have been good, it's definitely not as it's not as frequent as we wanted it to be. So I feel like, why not just throw everyone against her and then make it be convincing, not make it be a cheap win, or she defeats someone with the most deadliest move of all time, the schoolboy roll up. It needs to be a convincing win, and why not throw not just goobers at her, potential people that have been either former champions or have the potential to become champion. If not now, then definitely in the future. Obviously, you have Zoe Stark. I feel like she's she could be champion one someday. Shayna Baszler has the veteran pedigree. She's been the champion before. Nia Jax, a deadly powerhouse that could definitely be a champion, as much as we would hate to see it. Raquel, definitely someone that could be a championship contender. She might, even though in my opinion she's still kind of green, but she has the potential. And am I missing someone? No, that's it. Yeah. So if she's able to actually take out all those 4 people convincingly, I feel like she could definitely put the momentum back behind her, and then obviously just juggle the fact of being, I don't care, she is the leader of Judgment Day, plus have her division on lockdown. And they're doing a good job of it, in terms of not making her look cowardly. Obviously they had a little brawl afterwards. She was just outside just trying to call the shots, and she was just laughing at Nia, doing a little wave to her. So it's not, she wasn't in the middle of it and then she ran away, scurried away, or anything, look all scared. She is ready to take down anybody and everybody in that division, and that's what you need. That's what you definitely need. So it was The segment that was okay in terms of the brawl, it really felt like there was some miscues. Like it looked like they were, people were waiting around in order for something to happen or someone to get in their time. So it was a bit of miscues in certain points. So it was a bit disjointed. They need to fix that for the match. But yeah, for the segment, it was fine. I'm looking forward to this match. I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually looking forward to it. It has potential to be a decent match. But yeah, at the end of the day, Rhea's definitely going to retain, and yeah, it should be. I just wanted to be convincing. That's what I care. That's what I care about. And Nia still is number one in my books. No, I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
I agree with you on Ripley's retaining. It will make up for a lot of lost time too.
It's tough because Nia is the only one I'm not excited about in the match.
Oh, that's Shad.
In ring wise.
No, shout out Nia Jax. I'm excited to see what kind of spots she can bring to the table.
I mean, she had her best promo as well. It was, even though it got a bit silly at certain points, like especially at the end, she kept repeating the same thing, but it was better than the other one that got one.
I say this though. I know she hasn't been built up yet, but I think in ring wise, like I think Rhea and Zoe Stark will be a banger 100%. Of a match.
She's next, 100%.
She's the one I want to see them build up to. So we'll see.
Now let's get into our next segment, though. Speaking of booze, we're talking about Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio's little punk son Dom.
Boo!
Boo! Dom and Logan in the same ring. And I complained earlier in the week about, like, I rooted for Logan Paul against Dylan Danis. Dylan Danis was like the ultimate internet troll heel for their boxing match. Like, I watched it with Ben and everybody and, like, was all for Logan. First time in my life I've ever rooted for a Paul. It was actually kind of fun, too, because he won dominantly. So it was nice at the time. But, yeah, and then he turns around, he calls out Rey Mysterio, which I loved, but he comes right back to WWE and is the ultimate heel. And this is something that I'm a little bit concerned about for the future as far as the Logan Paul character is concerned. Because if he's going to be a babyface in his charity, celebrity, whatever you want to call them, boxing matches, right? His circus matches, and he's a heel in pro wrestling, it'll confuse the audience that he brings over, especially. And that's something that I don't know. I don't know how you navigate that, because publicly he's a heel to an older generation. Shad, you know what I mean? And I'm going to toss this to you next, right? Like, our generation kind of giggles at the Pauls,
right?
But they are very successful, in the generation behind us are super into him. I get he's the heel in this scenario against Rey Mysterio, and pairing him with Dom makes a ton of sense. But do you ever think that'll come back to bite him, being kind of a babyface in certain circles and a heel in others?
Nah, I don't think that's an issue. I mean, you think about his boxing match, I feel like there's a difference within kayfabe. We still got to realize that he's Logan Paul, obviously the entity, but he is also playing Logan Paul, the professional wrestler. And you kind of got to give or take what the crowd goes with. They initially tried to make him a babyface after him and Miz broke up, and the crowd wasn't really having it. I feel like a lot of people like to boo him, and he's got how his personality is. He has a very natural heel, like, aura to him. He's very successful. He's cocky. He's got the walking in with the God knows how much money Charizard necklace. Like, everything about him kind of just oozes off of that. Even though, granted, I don't follow him like that. I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about his success, besides whatever crypto thing that he had, and he owns Prime and he's got a podcast. I don't know too much about him, but from basing off of what the crowd is giving it to him, I feel like he does come off more as a heel. And the other part of it is he's going against Rey Mysterio, right? Rey Mysterio is the most beloved babyface. This guy's barely been a heel ever in his career, especially in WWE. It's hard to go baby face to that, unless you make it a match about success. But I feel the way for them is gonna probably be the heel tactic. Another thing is this: I think Logan Paul, you got to just go with it at that point. My only thing I will say about this is, with his character, he does come off one of other guys like that, because his that cocky, conceited dude is very similar to what you have with Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, as well. So they kind of have like an island full of dudes who are kind of similar to that. And Logan is more obviously popular than both of them, but he's not as good as a talker or a character as they may be. But he's gonna gather that attention, and I mean, we'll kind of see what happens. The promo yesterday between them two was okay. It was a lot of boos. I guess that's what they wanted. I thought the Samantha Irvin thing was kind of weird. It came off really weird, in my opinion. It felt she looked very uncomfortable. But I like that Ricochet was able to get his, lick back and was able to beat up and defend his girl in that standpoint. I don't know if they'll because I got Logan Paul winning in Saudi. We're gonna see him as U.S. champion, and I think that's the way to go too. I'm sorry, I love Rey Mysterio. I think he's a legend, but I feel like you shock it a little. This is the perfect opportunity to shake stuff up and let that man get a title. You don't want him to be world champion. Yeah. I think this is the perfect time to do it. It's the perfect belt to do it. I think you milk off time that you might need to do, man. I feel like him having the title reign until Survivor Series, and then you get a very good babyface, whether it be like LA Knight or whatever, and get that title off of him. I think that's the way to go.
I like it. And to be clear, I do actually think Logan Paul is goofier than a football bat myself. So I'm with you on a lot of what
I also like Logan Paul in the WWE.
In the WWE, he's great, but goofier than a football bat for sure. Anyway, not the point. I'm not trying to be a bully over here on air. And I did threaten to say the comment that you left earlier in the week about Rey Mysterio being washed.
I said that?
I didn't say it.
I didn't say that at all.
He's not washed. He's not washed.
I ain't never say that.
I hope he washed it, but he's not washed.
Matter of fact, we talked about it too. And last thing I said, because we were debating between him and Jericho.
And I said off the air that he's washed, so I'll say it on the air too. He's washed.
Oh, put that on me.
Your malfunction.
Who's that?
I wasn't putting it on you, Shad. I was setting myself up for the line. I'm sorry. That's on me. This is not Shad's fault. You're just
trying to make me a super heel today.
Yeah, no, for real.
No,
but
we got
save it for Ignacio.
Let's talk about the last segment of the evening, which of course is McIntyre versus Zayn. I dig it. Great pro wrestling is great pro wrestling, and those two are great pro wrestling pretty much all the time. And Sami Zayn's the man. He lost last night. McIntyre is the clear challenger for the championship against Seth Rollins. But what do you guys think? Where do we go with Sami Zayn next? I'm gonna toss that to you, Shad, first. Where do you think we go with Sami Zayn next?
So I don't know that, and I've been trying to think about it because I watched that match yesterday, and it felt like even him, like he kind of got like the jobber entrance, right? Like they didn't even show his full entrance. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe they did show it, and I just caught it later. But they did. They did. So he didn't get the entrance. And bro, it's crazy to think where we are from almost a year ago to now. Sami Zayn was on top of the world in WWE television. His whole storyline with the bloodline, the adventure storyline with Roman, getting the tag team titles to where we are now, I feel like he's definitely took a dip. And he said a promo last week where he wants to come for that title. The Raw roster is in such a good place on top of the main event circuit with that belt where I could see him being champion and having a very strong reign. It's just one of those cases where I feel like they're not going to give it to him, or it's not his time just yet because there's some other people higher on him on the board. And I'm just kind of wondering, what does he do? Because if you're not going to do that, then you got to come back within a feud between, or at least some story between him and Jey Uso, because there's a lot of meat on the bone from there that still needs to be talked about. And it's just weird because they got like a lot of baby faces. So at the moment, I don't know where he is, but McIntyre and him had a banger of the match. And I like McIntyre going heel slowly but surely. Rhea helping him out too. It has me a lot of intrigue of what's going to potentially happen on that. And, maybe we are going to get the Scottish psychopath, and maybe he will not maybe be part of Judgment Day, but somehow a little bit of alignment to it so he can get that title off of Seth. We'll have to wait and see. But I do think we are going to see that. And before I go off, I think what you said earlier, Chaos, might lead to that too, where maybe he beats Seth and maybe Damian catches on Drew.
Ooh, that is an interesting proposition, Chaos. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with that as well. That's a good thing about the possibilities. It definitely go either way. But I feel it's more likely it could be definitely the way I said it, that Seth holds it until Mania. It just makes they wanted this to cash in on not some B pay-per-view. As much as prestigious as or glamorous they do with Crown Jewel, I feel like they need to cash in on a big pay-per-view, one of the big fours or big five, I should say. So yeah, I feel like WrestleMania is the way to go to. The match I haven't seen the whole match from beginning to end. I've seen the highlights, and you're right, it looked very solid. I'm definitely going to catch that as in its entirety at some point for sure. Because yeah, I love it whenever they are that whenever Sammy and Drew is in the match, they're usually in very good matches, and the chemistry just works well. And now in terms of Sami Zayn, where they're gonna go with him, I also agree. I don't know, but maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that just kind of that maybe that could be just the intrigue as to where they're gonna go with him, because he's always gonna be over. The crowd love him. He's never gonna lose momentum. He's almost one of those lifers in terms of momentum. He's always gonna be having the crowd behind him. And yeah, the fact that we don't know, maybe for once, why don't we just not actually guess where he's gonna go, wherever it's good, just actually enjoy the ride, similar to how we were enjoying the Bloodline when in its peak, so to speak. We didn't know where, we just kept tuning in every week. It was like the Godfather, but the wrestling in the wrestling world. So yeah, I'm not really worried about where they're gonna go with him. I think he will become world champion. I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon, because obviously, with championships, it's like a face then heel, face then heel, face then heel. I do feel like Damian Priest is going to be the next in line, and who knows, maybe Sammy is the one that actually beats him for the title later down in 2024. But yeah, for what I saw from the match, it was fun. I'm not worried about Sami Zayn, and yeah, Damian Priest to cash in at Mania. That's my prediction.
I love the way you laid that out too, and I love the way you said it about Sammy, because I do think that's eventually what we need to get to. I think this is the kind of the title that Sammy deserves to win. We had a couple comments here.
Sure.
Before we go really quickly, we had maybe Sami Zayn should go after Gunther's title from Bobby Petito. Great suggestion, but I almost feel like he's already been Intercontinental Champion.
He's been IC
And
champ already.
that's back to the kind of consolation prize thing we said before. I failed to show this comment earlier from Bobby Petito. He booed with us. Monster shout out our good buddy Bobby.
Yeah,
but
Chad Gable to win, definitely for the IC title. Definitely
Gable IC title deserved, and that belt just fits him, character wise, stylistically. I think it makes perfect sense.
From one work rate to another work rate guy. For sure.
And I wouldn't even mind, and this is something really quick because we only have about 45 seconds, but I feel like I wouldn't mind Gable winning that belt in a multi-man match. We've talked about a few different multi-person matches here, title scenarios. I would not mind him not actually pinning Gunther to win that belt. I think it would still mean the same, and I think it would kind of protect that reign even more. But if that's the way his reign ends, and then you get the rematch, maybe he wins it back, then you get the final finish and Chad wins, and you insert Gunther into that main event picture that he deserves. I'm not sure that's a terrible idea, but with that, that unfortunately does bring us to the end of the show, guys. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. If you're not going to listen about 6 hours and 19 minutes from now to wrestling off the air, I don't know why you wouldn't. I would if I was you, but I'm not you, so that's neither here nor there. With that, though, on behalf of Shad and Chaos, happy Tuesday. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Also, tune in and take it to the table every single time.
Peace.
Peace.
Sir.